I'm Dr. Louis Baskins, along with my bestest friend, Betty Muhammad. We are endeavoring to initiate a conversation that will begin to dissolve a lot of the human experiences that we are so distasteful as relate to. One of the major things today, there's so much conversation concerning the amount of violence in America, especially the major cities. I think, Betty, that the topic of violence is not a solution to the violence. I think the solution would be teaching character development. Once the character development is in place, built, the violence will automatically dissolve.
Of course, Louis, that's interesting. However, we can't build character unless you know who you are. So you've heard this saying that be to thine own self be true. We must know who's the self that we're referring to. Once we know that self is our true spiritual identity, then we can see that spiritual identity is the same spiritual identity of everyone, whether we call that person in the home our parents or our children, or outside of the home our neighbors or our country. We are all one. Until we can get to that spirit of oneness, then we cannot build character or anything else, because it's like building a building. We got to have the material to build the building, and the material is, first of all, awareness of your true spiritual identity, the principle of oneness.
Yes, I do agree. Character is the mental, moral, and ethical traits that define a person. And once a person knows the traits of integrity, as an example, loyalty, I agree that to awaken to one's true identity is a giant step forward. However, there has been many people who exhibit integrity, who exhibit loyalty, and they have not yet awakened to the oneness of their true identity, which is spiritual. So I understand what you were saying. It will certainly cover the whole waterfront, so to speak. But character of loyalty, integrity can be developed even to those who may be still asleep to their true identity, don't you think?
Yes, they can be awakened to it, and then they will start a dialogue or the discussion about it. But we must know, Louis, and you and I both know that words in themselves are not the power. The key is once they're in touch with their true spiritual identity, it is that which is within them. It's this the Father within. It is that will develop that character. You see, you can't see loyalty. You can talk about it. You can't see love and respect, but you can discuss it. But once you're one with your true identity, you can be it, and being is more important than just discussing.
I certainly agree with that. Those are spiritual qualities: loyalty, integrity, courage, and those qualities certainly define the character of individuals.
Because one state of consciousness, wherever you are in your awareness of your true spiritual identity, that consciousness is going to outpicture as your experience. And you'll see, just like the sun, it doesn't have to go around telling the world that, look, I can shine. It's simply shining. So once we know our true identity, we will be the light. And whatever we are in consciousness, it will show itself from the rooftop.
Yes, this is what is endeavored to be communicated in the first book that I authored last year, 2015, by the title Uncover the Missing Piece, Dissolve Resentment, Avoid Anger. Again, that title for the listener is Uncover the Missing P-E-A-C-E, forgive me, which you can be acquired, access on Amazon.com.
Mm-hmm. And that's such a beautiful book, Louis, because uncovering the missing pieces, letting us know that once you know your true self, that peace is already there. You cannot uncover something that is not there. So the fact that it's always has been there and always will be there. And once we know that it is that within us that will enable us to resolve resentment and avoid anger. Know that I of myself can do nothing. That is, on that human level, it's just one human opinion versus another. But when we are one with our true self, it is that goes before us, and it is it that brings about the peace that surpasses all human understanding.
Yes, in the book Uncover the Missing Piece are exercises to help assist people in developing the ability to avoid that emotion of anger. And as we know, anger is preceded by passing judgment on another or a situation and the self-talk that goes on. Mm-hmm. So that is found in the book, Uncover the Missing Piece.
And you know, Lewis, that self-talk goes on because we're seeing ourselves as separate and apart from each other.
That is correct.
But once we are one with our true identity and one with the principle of oneness, then we can respect all, and that self-talk will change. We do not have to try to change the talk, but get in line with the principle of oneness, our true spiritual identity. For mine is yours, and yours is mine, and it's all one.
You know, I'm reminded of the instruction that Spirit gave Adam and Eve, said that the day that you eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that day you shall surely die. Yeah. What do you die to? You lose or die to the understanding that there is no duality. There's only oneness.
That's right.
So as the human mind feed themselves on passing judgment, what's right and what's wrong, and the conflict and all, this is the world of duality, where in truth there is oneness.
There's only one, and you cannot have duality and oneness at the same time. Once we know the truth, it's nothing to compare with or compete with. No one is a majority, no one is better or worse. We're all one, but we're expressing that oneness in a variety of ways. And so let us not look up to anyone nor look down on anyone, but just play the level plane, and that is just be a beholder and let that peace, that state of consciousness of oneness express through us and as everyone else. Then and only then will we really have the peace that surpasses all human understanding.
Yes, peace is as close as our very breathing, nearer than hand and feet, as Joel Goldsmith of the Infinite Way so often quotes in his writings.
And there's another quote that says that, I think this was quoted in the Bible as saying, Jesus says, when you see me, you see the Father who sent me. So it's not me and God. That's not God and someone else. God is one. God is consciousness or spirit or whatever word you wish to call it, because it's not in the word. It's in the principle of oneness.
Yes.
So when you see me, or when we see each other, we're seeing the oneness. And let us respect that in all of our ways. Acknowledge God, acknowledge the source, acknowledge oneness in all of our ways, and let it direct our paths.
To you, the listener, we're encouraging you to let yesterday lie. Yesterday ended last night. We have this eternal moment of now to listen from within, that same withinness that brought us from a sperm and egg within our mother's womb to the state and stage that we are now. That same withinness is waiting, saying, behold, I stand at the door and knock.
And that's a beautiful saying, too. I think that's from the Bible. Behold, I. And that I is that spiritual identity, standing at the door of my consciousness, waiting for my recognition of it.
That's
and
right.
As I acknowledge that in all of my ways and acknowledge it in everyone I meet, then, of course, there's the principle of oneness functioning as we speak.
And we will observe peace on earth, beginning with me.
Yes. Let there be peace on earth. Let it. Didn't say make it, didn't say demand it, didn't say fight it or protest for it. It simply say let. And if we'll be a beholder. It will express through us as a light expresses through a bulb when it's connected to the socket.
Yes, Fran Salzman wrote a piece in the magazine Facets. It says, do you ever stop to ponder on what keeps your body going? What makes the rain fall on the hills and keeps the grasses growing? What is inside a blooming rose that tells it what to do? And what is it that causes those petals to fall when that growth is through? How does an acorn know for sure an oak it has to be? And once it knows, how does it get to be that tree that we see? The order of the universe is God's alone to know. The mystery of life that causes things to grow. I have much to learn, admittedly, but this one thing I see, that spark of life in the rose is that which shines in me. Those are wonderful words. I think they're words of praise, recognizing the divinity of our true identity.
And the true identity and the divinity of every race, every color, every creed. Let us respect them all.
Absolutely. In the flower garden, we have the roses, the tulips, the lilacs, different fragrances, different shapes, different colors, but they're all expressing oneness.
All oneness.
Oneness of life.
Oneness of life.
So let us use that as our example to say, we too are as a flower garden. And let's flow that energy that we call life by getting our bloated nothingness out of the way, as Ralph Waldo Emerson says in his essay on self-reliance.
And when we can die to this sense of duality, that you and me, that the sense of labeling, the sense of comparing, because those five senses will deceive you. That's why Shirley told us clearly, judge not from appearances, because appearances come and go. Appearances change. You can, I think in Joel Goldsmith's book, he had one of beautiful illustrations that if you stand at the railroad track and look far ahead, your eyes will give you that perception that the tracks are coming together. So you can see you cannot depend on your senses, but you can depend on that spirit of oneness. So let us be in the now, live in the now. Crucify that duality, that thinking that one is better in comparison. Be still and know there's only one, and that one is perfect, is whole, and is complete.
Yes, crucify that personal sense of self. Paul, in his writing, said, I die daily. Die to that personal sense of self, because that is the thing that's causing all the conflict in the world. Me, myself, mine. So let us awaken to the truth of being, truth with a capital T.
And that truth is that we're all one. Surely we are like the flower garden, we're expressing in many different ways, but indeed we're only one. And that one is spirit, is whole, is complete, is perfect. No one is better, no one is inferior, no one is a minority, no one is a majority. We're all one, expressing for the glory of that sent us forth.
That source expresses in a multitude of forms and experience. Let us cease judging and simply acknowledge the isness of now.
Let us not allow race, nor labels, or ethnicity, nor stations in life, whether it be riches or poverty. Let us not allow any of that to separate us from the love of oneness. The principle of oneness is all good, it's all one, it's all God. And let us respect everyone, no matter what country, what color, what creed, whether you call yourself rich or poor, because neither one of us are going to take any more back with us when we leave this parenthesis than we brought here.
We thank you for listening to our dialogue and discussion today. Thank you.